Right. I know why people don't like sometimes to acknowledge that infinity is real. Right. There's these statistics, and you know who I'm talking to. At least some of you do, anyway. Yeah, these statistics that say that the way the universe is set up, the likelihood or possibility of it being set up the way it is, as intricately and precisely as it is, right, is something like the same probability as winning the lottery, somebody winning the lottery every week for 10,000 years. Now, so you've got 50 weeks in a year, um, times that by 10,000, that's 500,000, 520,000, say. We just say 500,000 just to make it sort of keep the figures sort of like round. So 500,000. Is it 500,000? Yeah, 50 times 10,000, 500,000. Right. 500,000, and the chances of winning the lottery once is about 14 million to 1. So you've got 14 million to the power of 500,000. So 14 million times itself 500,000 times, right? Now, that's going to give you a number. Right, so 14,000, that's like a number with about 8 digits, right? So you multiply it by itself, you end up with a number with 16 digits. So basically, you multiply 8 by 500,000, which gives you 4 million, right? So you've got a number with 4 million digits. It's very difficult to imagine, I mean, a number that big. It basically, I should imagine it's something like, it's going to take up a whole book to write that number down. So it does seem like an impressive number. It's very difficult for anyone to get something that large in their mind and and sort of look at it accurately. It seems overwhelmingly large, but it's not. When you look at infinity and deal with infinity, that number, even though it's a whole book worth of digits to write that number down, is absolutely nothing compared to the infinite. It's not even scratching the surface. If you got every computer on the planet and filled it up with as many digits as you could fit into each computer, and you put them all together to make one long number, with like trillions, and well, you can't even put into words how many digits it's going to take up. You couldn't make enough books and put them on the planet contained in digits to all make up one number, right? It still wouldn't scratch the surface of infinity. This is why people don't like to think about infinity, because there's no end to it, and when you try to deal with it, it's almost impossible to even scratch the surface. So what people tend to do is just totally give up and reject the idea wholesale. Right, there's some other things about infinity. Infinity, to me, there's no end to it, right? What it says in my little dictionary here, um, it's basically, right, endless space, time, or number. Now, number, that's irrelevant. So I'm dealing with endless time and space. That's my concept of infinity. So endless time implies that this universe is less than a blink of an eye in relation to infinity, as how long it's been here. It doesn't mean that no matter how long it's going to be here for, it's still less than the blink of an eye compared to the infinite time. It's not even scratching the surface. It's irrelevant. It's totally insignificant. This is what people don't like. It implies that their whole life is practically meaningless. and they want it to mean something. They want to be more important than that. They want to be more significant. And in terms of infinity, you're nothing. You know, you're such a tiny little insignificant speck of dust that lasts less than a blink of an eye. That's all you are. Get used to it. You know, people want to imagine they're more than that to puff up their own ego because they feel so stupidly insecure. But you know, just wishing, you know, trying to believe a load of fantasies isn't, you know, and lies isn't going to make your life any really better. Well, you're just deceiving yourself ultimately. That's the point I'm making. But this also, because of the nature of infinity, in my humble opinion, which probably isn't very humble, um, infinity contains all possibilities. So therefore, there must be a one true God. So in that sense, I definitely believe in a one true God. On the other hand, there's also the possibility, which must exist also, that there is no God, or that there is no one true God. And I know that because that's also included in infinity. And there's also the possibility that there are many gods. That must also be a truth. So I have to acknowledge that as well. And that there's also the belief that and the possibility that there are no gods at all. So I take that into consideration, and all of these things fit together in infinity. But because they seem contradictory and paradoxical, a lot of people won't even consider that that is possible. And yet infinity demands that it's possible, and that it's not only possible, but it must be. And this is one of the problems why people can't get their head around infinity, because they want it to be simple and straightforward, and it isn't. You know, what goes on forever without end can't easily be summed up. You know, and so just rejecting it because you can't sum it up shows your fallibility, your weakness, your inability to deal with the truth, to deal with reality.